And now, a message from our cartoon president.
Cartoon president is bad, like, really bad. And this shouldn't be a surprise. I don't think anyone expected anything too much from this show, but the fact that this show was even made amazes me. I mean, it airs on Showtime, where greats such as Weeds and Dexter have aired, and where Twin Peaks is currently running. This is the type of show I'd expect to see on Comedy Central or something. Speaking of which, this show reminds me of a certain bush. I'll get to this one day in the future. The creator of the show is Stephen Colbert, who I used to find hilarious at one point back when he played his conservative character. Now, I bet Colbert is a great guy, he seems pretty genuine, but his humor as of late and his late night show has been absolutely appalling and just plain unfunny, dude. Yeah, I know, humor is subjective and this video is probably going to come off as if I'm some type of blind conservative who gets upset over the slightest critique or joke, but I'm not really that. Just to make this clear, this isn't a pro-Trump or pro-Republican video, just a quick thoughts on something that I think shouldn't exist, but it does. I mean, Jesus Christ. This isn't just a Colbert exclusive thing, it's all late night shows now and has even invaded its way to places like the Oscars. I'm not going to be taken by surprise when the next Oscars is just another unfunny 3-hour shit show where they just call Trump a Cheeto or an orange. They're really going to try and hammer that in. Hey guys, we're Hollywood, we don't like Trump, look! Don't get me wrong, I don't think the president should be immune to any criticism. In fact, I welcome clever political punchlines about the current state of politics. Yeah, I know, Trump is a goldmine and is just the gift that keeps on giving. But sometimes you have to admit when enough is enough and things go too far. Even Dave Chappelle suggested that Trump is just overall bad for comedy, as jokes will just eventually get stale about him.
I think Trump's kind of bad for comedy.
You think? Really?
In a way, yeah. Most comics in the States are starting to do the same jokes just because Trump is so on everybody's mind. So it'll be nice when we don't have to talk about him as much.
Which brings us to our cartoon president, who first appeared in Colbert's late night show during the last presidential election.
Whoa! Whoa!
Perhaps CBS and Colbert are banking that this show is a success, and that this show will last a couple of seasons as it looks cheap and quick to animate. But only time will tell if this is a hit. When I first watched the trailer, it was pretty unfunny and didn't manage to make me laugh a single time. I see people compare this show to Family Guy, but it's really the way it's animated that makes it seem that way. Maybe you can argue that I'm just a cynical person, but I've laughed at more idiotic things before. Our cartoon president's trailer just has faulty punchlines, and it seems as if not much thought was put into any of those jokes whatsoever. Presidential comedies usually depict the commander-in-chief as someone who is severely incompetent, but yet still somewhere deep down has a heart of gold and cares about this country. Judging from late night, I don't think this is the way Colbert feels about Trump. Trump does and says things that warrant satire, but at some point that type of satire is going to be beaten to death. Anyways, I watched the first episode and here are my thoughts on it. The first episode follows cartoon Trump preparing for his first State of the Union address to Congress. The side B plot follows Trump having to worry about giving a gift for him and Melania's 13th wedding anniversary. The show borrows some elements from such programs like South Park, as whatever recent topic that occurred in the Trump world within the last week is mentioned in the cold open. What I'd like to point out, and it seems pretty obvious, is just how stiff and completely lifeless the animation is. The backgrounds look fantastic, and as someone who's a presidential junkie, the White House has never looked better in animation. However, the impressions of personnel are absolutely horrendous. It seems as if the only people who are actually trying with the character they're given are Jeff Bergman, who voices Trump, and whoever the guy is who voices Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell. By the way, I like how they made him a turtle. I also like how they portrayed Sean Hannity, as it's pretty close to the truth. Anyways, I just don't think the voice actors are even trying to give it their all with whoever they're impersonating, and it just sounds really boring. There are also these really unorthodox pauses in between jokes, as if this show is being shown to a live studio audience, when it's obviously not. There's a lot of these moments throughout the first episode that makes it feel awkward and poorly paced.
Well, how do we know the meeting is over? Does someone say ding ding or ding dong?
I mean, if each episode is going to be around 28 minutes, then this is just going to get worse. Sure, there are actually some clever jokes in there that got me a laugh or two, but all of that is buried under the jokes we've already heard about a million times by Colbert himself. By the end of the episode, Trump manages to craft a State of the Union speech while inside a part of a firefighter truck. Of course, in reference to this picture. How topical. Colbert, this isn't the worst thing in the world, but it certainly isn't good. I guess his obsession with Trump is justified as it does give him amazing viewership, and he gets to roll in dough. But it is certainly sad to see his career go down this path. I do wonder, however, when his audience will get sick of the grating Trump jokes. I also wonder if this show makes Trump seem far more likable than he actually is, which is ironic when you think about Colbert's thoughts about the president. Now, as for the other side complaining about why Obama or the Democrats barely got satirized during their control of the government, you have to realize that Trump himself is quite the character. It's like how a bully treats a kid on the playground. The bully makes fun of the kid and the kid tells him to stop, but the bully just persists on being an asshole. When you yourself get offended by someone and clearly show signs of being offended, it is quite easy to have your personality unraveled by whatever or whoever is doing the offensive act. It doesn't matter if you're a hippie liberal or a hick conservative, if you can't take the slightest critique, then you yourself are the snowflake that you try to pose the other side of being. And don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to be this high and mighty centrist trying to take the high road, because I am just as guilty as you for doing the same thing. Now, it would be hilarious watching these two sides squabble, and you can pretend you're above it all by not picking a side, but eventually the politics will catch up to all of us and affect all of us. I guess I will end this video with one thing I didn't absolutely despise from this show. The ending credits song is awesome because of just how idiotic and stupidly fun it is. It just reminds you over and over again that the people of the United States voted Donald Trump for president, and that's where we'll end it off. Whether you like it or not, the Donald is still the president, and only time will tell how long he'll remain president of the United States.